Charlatans, the quasi-title track for this album. Although it didn't actually start life that way. The way this all came about was I had the song like pretty much all done in the way I wanted to have it, and I took it to Matt Ketman, and I wanted him to put some of his vocals and like really kind of good singing on it, and he came up with that term charlatans after kind of listening to the verse, and we talked a little bit about what I was trying to say on the track, and kind of the way he sang it and how it kind of fit with everything. It just made a ton of sense to call not only the track this, but let's kind of have that be a big theme for the whole album. But he did an awesome job. And it's funny because he's such a good singer, and I ended up putting a big vocal synth on his big on what he did. But the track kind of called for that. I felt something sort of artificial and robotic sounding in that section. Especially with what we were dealing with on the subject matter, just made a ton of sense. So the song itself. Kind of comes from a conversation Sam Buck and I were having, just about fucking with people's heads and causing disruptions and disinformation. One of the things he mentioned is that and Sam, I should mention, like, he knows everything about like war and just military history, and so you ask him, he'll know. But anyways, he was telling me about this program that the Soviets had going back to the 1920s and all through the Cold War, called active measures. And what it was it was a whole bunch of things, but probably the most important one for the U.S. and kind of everything going on with America was to create disinformation campaigns and conspiracies and things like that would cause distrust for the citizens with the government. And this is, things like JFK assassination conspiracies, and a lot of that stuff actually came from, Russians. We know this because, defectors in the 80s, all kind of talked. But it was really interesting because what I want to do is kind of compare and contrast some of those things with some of the things we see now. We talked on Amplify about how, look, if I can get you pissed off about something to the point where you're ranting and raving on Facebook and making a spectacle of yourself, you're going to fuel people over here who feel the opposite and kind of make them double down on their position. And, once brands and, certain political factions kind of figured this out, definitely in the last like 5-6 years, we're seeing them use it against us. And I thought, man, that's a lot like what active measures was, except a little more sophisticated and a little more advanced. And so that was a big reason we want to have Matt. He synthesized his voice a little bit to add the technology element. But this is definitely another one that's good to drive your car fast to, which is a big theme on this record. So put it in, if you got a car and get a third gear scratch, this is probably a good one to listen to.